What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of They Don't Know I Be Cooking, and today I'm going to show you how to make a 3-cheese cheesesteak. Now this recipe is really straightforward. If you could just do me a favor and hit that like button and hit the subscribe button, because I drop videos like this throughout the week, alright? And now without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so what we have here is 1 red bell pepper, 1 yellow bell pepper, and 1 white onion. Now you always want to chop the steak last to avoid any cross-contamination. So the first thing we're going to do is chop these peppers. So I'm going to cut off the top and then turn it over and then chop it down because I want to cut them into small rectangles. And then we'll place them in this bowl. And we'll do the same for the yellow pepper as well. So cut off the top, turn it over, chop it down, cut them into rectangles, and then place them in the bowl. Now there's really no right or wrong way to cut these, but I prefer to cut them into rectangles as it makes life easier when placing them in our bun. So the same thing with the white onion, we're going to cut them the long way and then place them in the bowl. And now for our steak, and I am using a ribeye steak, and it helps if the steak is semi-frozen so that you can cut it into thin slices. Now sometimes if I see a large piece of fat, I'll just cut it off so I can cut the steak more evenly. Now you want to try and cut it against the grain. This will make it nice and tender and not super chewy. And of course you want to cut them as thin as possible so it helps to have a sharp knife. And that's our steak. So now I'm gonna head over to my stove where I got my cast iron skillet heating at medium to high heat. And then we're gonna add about 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil. And then we'll add in our veggies. Now these should cook for about 8 minutes or until they're nice and soft. And then once they're soft, then we'll add in our seasoning, all right? So I'm gonna add about 1/2 teaspoon of seasoning salt and 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. And now we're gonna mix it all together. And this will be some of the tastiest veggies you've ever had. Now I know technically bell peppers are actually fruits, but you know what I mean. And now we'll just put them back into our bowl here. And I'm gonna add about 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter. And once it has melted, then we'll add in our steak. And then once you add the steak, you want to just spread it around so it has good contact with the pan. And then we'll begin the seasoning. So I'm going to add 3/4 teaspoon of sea salt, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, and 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Now because it's thinly sliced, it doesn't take very long to cook, so after about 1.5 minutes, we'll flip them over. Now in total, these will cook for about 3 minutes before we add in our veggies. Okay, so it's been about 3 minutes and you shouldn't see any more pink left in the steak, and now we're gonna add in our veggies. And then once we add in our veggies, you wanna just lower the heat to medium heat so that we don't overcook the steak. And now we're just gonna mix it all together. And then we'll add in our cheeses, all right? So I am using a 3-cheese blend, and we'll start with adding about 2/3 cup of mozzarella cheese. And then we'll add 2/3 cup of mild cheddar cheese. And of course, this wouldn't be a cheesesteak without some provolone cheese. So you wanna add about 3 to 4 slices. And now we're just gonna mix it all together and get it nice and cheesy. And now we'll turn off the heat completely. But look at that. Doesn't that look delicious? All right, let me get back to work. Okay, so now we're gonna make our secret sauce. So I got this bowl here, and to the bowl, we're gonna add 1/2 cup of mayonnaise, and then we're gonna add 1 tablespoon of W sauce. And now we're gonna mix it all together. And you want to mix it until it's nice and smooth. And now we're going to start loading up our bun. Alright, so I got this tin foil here, and I'll explain why in just a moment. And for the bun, I am using a white sub roll, and I've already toasted it. And now we're just going to hit it with some of that secret sauce. And you definitely want to hit both sides of the bun. And now it's time for my favorite part. I'm going to load this up with some of that 3 cheese goodness. And this is super cheesy. This is how I like it. And something that I always say is if it ain't dripping, it ain't hitting. And now we're going to wrap it with the tin foil. And what this does is it gets those juices and those ingredients to sort of marry each other and give us a nice cohesive flavor. And I made enough for about 2 cheesesteaks. So I'm going to repeat the process for the other cheesesteak as well. And I've already loaded it, so I'm just going to wrap it. And I'll keep them wrapped for about 2 minutes. And that's it. We have our 3 cheese cheesesteak. Now I'm warning you, you might be making this for about 3 days straight. That's how good this is. Now as always, if you enjoy this recipe, please let me know in the comments. And please like, subscribe, and share. And enjoy.